So that's guitar lessons that a course that I teach. Obviously, I don't have to tell you about it because you've taught guitar lessons at GIT back then. How do you feel about it? And please don't put your guitar lesson course out just yet because you're gonna completely trump mine. You'll
Oh, I don't know
swamp
about
me.
that.
You'll swamp me on that one. But actually, I think I have a pretty good system to uh, learn fundamental guitar and sort of go from the basics and start playing songs. Basically, your first lesson. How do you feel
That's great.
about that? People learning what is one of the most important things that you could maybe pass the torch of rock on to up and coming guitar players? What would advice would you give them?
Oh, like if you're just starting out or if you've been
Just
playing for a
starting out.
while or
Yeah, exactly.
well, I mean, it's a great time to start learning guitar because there's a lot of ways you can learn guitar. There's obviously, a lot of stuff online. There's your method.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. I think it's a great thing to have a method and because if you just dive into it and you don't really know where to start, there there can be so much coming at you that you don't really know where to go. So if you have something like System 12 where it starts you with stuff that you really need, like for a foundation with you know chords and how they go together and
Power chords, your
power
notes,
chords.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
starting simple is a really good thing. And but there's a lot of great ways to learn how to play guitar now. You can go on YouTube. There's a lot of inspiration out there. Obviously, there's so many great guitar players that have existed throughout time. And you can also take lessons from people on Zoom now. I've been giving Zoom lessons uh, for the last couple months, and there's a lot. You can sit anywhere in the world. You can sit on a Zoom lesson and ask specific questions, and so people can be at any level and have lessons all over the world now, which is great.
That
There's
access is really important, isn't it? Because I do the same thing on my site that where you can book a lesson. As you said earlier, Zoom is always a little bit it's a little bit challenging, but we can get it
it is.
done, and it does work because that accessibility is finally there because we have the time now. You know.
Absolutely, and I find that it's not even. I mean, it's one thing. It's cool to be in a room and actually play with people, and that's great. But you can do a lot through a Zoom lesson. You can get a lot of points across. A lot of you can really help a guitar student a lot by teaching them ways that they can actually improve on their own, right? So a guitar player isn't just going to improve by jamming with me or being on a lesson with me. I want them to like go away from that lesson and be able to show them things that they can sit and learn daily and maybe use their time wisely so that they can improve faster than otherwise. Because I know that when I was a kid, I used to practice for a long, long time, and I
Yeah.
probably could have gotten just as good in half the amount of time if I would have been more focused on the right things to practice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of great ways to learn guitar now, and there's a lot of really good guitar players out there that that I learn about every day. So it's fun. It's fun to meet new kids that are up and coming, and
Those
but I
11-year-olds that come up and that smoke it on stage at a Steel Panther show. I mean,
yeah, that's
whether you
right.
take a lesson from myself or whether you take a lesson from Satchel or whether you just go on to that YouTube channel, the advice that I try and give people is on YouTube, take advantage of that player because not a lot of people know on that little circle dial is in the settings you can slow the video down to keep in the same pitch but go down to three-quarter speed. Honestly, if I would have had that when I was trying to learn eruption or trying to learn some sort of Randy Rhoads solo, any Randy Rhoads solo for that matter, it would have saved a lot of vinyl. It would have and it would have saved me hours of frustration. So take advantage of that speed control. That's one thing that I tell people.
Yeah, I didn't actually know you could do that. That's really cool. That's
You didn't?
there's no, I didn't know that. That's awesome. I mean, there's definitely things about technology now that make learning the guitar much easier. And just being able to hear the notes and to be able to see video of somebody's hand, the way they are holding their hand, the way they're holding their pick. Those are all things that are really important. Um, One thing that even just talking about it right now, like when you're starting out on guitar, one thing that I did when I was a kid, I practiced for 3 years and then I had to change my technique because I was very tight, and I had to learn how to like just be
Loosen
relaxed
up.
when I play. And I think that's a very important thing with any instrument, like just being able to play relaxed, because you want to be able to play for hours at a time without getting tension in your shoulders and things like that. But those are all important things to focus on when you're learning how to do anything, whether it's a golf swing or a, hey, there's that rat again,
I know.
or
I think they're
guitar. Or
planning a coup, those rats. They're definitely
sure, I'm sure
planning
they are.
something. I watch your back, man. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. That's why I
So,
feed them well.
all right. Well, I see that you have a lot of guitars, and it's not that none of them that you are selling right now. Those are all obviously your guitars. Is there a go-to guitar that you have? I mean, I have my nice little Cherry Burst 78 gold top or Cherry Burst Les Paul. Which one's your
Well,
go-to? It's not the,
I
I don't think it's the Shocker.
I
Ah,
I have my own model
yeah,
of guitar. This is like a Satchel model Charbel, and
yeah.
I've got a green one over there, or over there, right there. There it is.
I
And
see it.
but these guitars are they're rock guitars,
So
and
is that the Charvel or
it's
is
the
that?
Charbel Satchel model,
Oh, I love
and
it. I love it because
it's great. They've got a Fishman Fluence pickups, and these things are. It's the first active pickup I've ever
I was gonna
used,
say they're active. Yeah,
and they sound amazing. And it's really my favorite guitar I've ever played, and it sounds great. And the Charvels, the necks are always easy to play. So even the stuff, you can pick one of these up out of Guitar Center or wherever they sell them, and they're very easy to play, and they sound great. And I know most guitar players don't want to fight the guitar neck when they're playing, so these things are very very, the action's low, and they sound great. So
you're
that's
right, Georgia. This is guitar porn. Let me ask you this.
right, Georgia.
I'll go a little bit down that dark web area. Is this is what are your necks? You have any scalloped necks? Because I know you're. Oh, those rats sound. Those rats are actually talking now. They've
Well,
learned to
yeah,
impersonate voices and stuff.
they do. Well, that's how they get fed. That's how they get
Yeah,
fed. They pretend to
smart.
be dogs, and then
That's
you
pro
think, is
smart.
this a dog or a rat? It sure acts like a rat, but it barks like a dog.
Being an Ingve fan, do you have any guitars that have scallop necks? And for those of you that are keeping score at home, scallop necks actually are like, how would you describe a scallop neck, Satchel?
Well, it's like you basically, if you, it's like taking a sandpaper and just sanding it down, so it's got an arch
Yeah.
in between the frets. Um,
Does that make you play faster?
it does not make me play. It feels weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
personally like it that much, but it's if somebody wants to see the hammer. Okay, this is the. I'll show you this one real quick.
all right. Cool.
This is the
Oh, look
first
at
guitar
you.
I ever had. I bought this. I don't even know, like 40 years ago or something. Like it's a
Yeah.
hammer,
Yeah, I
and
love hammers. I owned a hammer once. Is that kind of like is before Steve Stevens? It looks a little like the Steve Stevens model, but it actually has it's
yep,
it's it's
and
killer, man.
I loved it because it was zebra, and it's got these three pickups, two pickups right next to each other. That's a humbucker, and that's a single coil. And I broke the neck on this thing so many times
Oh
from throwing
man.
it around my back. I don't even know if I can play it anymore, but it's
Looks cool as
but
fuck. I
yeah,
love it.
it is cool, and it's small. It's a 3/4 scale, I think, too. So kind of
I had
strange, but
a Michael Schenker Flying V by Hamer. That was the one. And the only reason I bought a Hamer was because I was such a huge Alice Cooper fan, or not Alice Cooper fan. I was such a huge Cheap Trick fan, and my phone's going crazy a little bit. But I was such a big Cheap Trick fan, and Rick Nielsen used to use Hamers, and that was
oh,
the reason why I ended up getting it. Or actually,
I
an ex girlfriend bought it.
yeah, I didn't even realize, because when I got into Cheap Trick, and I love Cheap Trick, by the way, and I love Rick Nielsen, one of the best songwriters ever, and great guitar player, and he's also one of those guys that is proof to me, and I think it's really cool when you see somebody who he was never competing with the Ingves and the Eddie Van Halens. He didn't give a shit, right? Like
No,
he was
it's
like,
good
I'm doing my
history.
own thing, and I'm going to do it great, and he did it so great that it was inspiring, and I think that's what everybody should do when they pick up an instrument. Like, don't worry about, like, because it's not a competition, right? Ultimately, it's about you finding your own thing, and doing it really well. And that's, Rick Nielsen to a T. Like, he went, I'm going to wear, everybody else had long hair. He was like, screw it, I'm going to have short hair. I'm going to wear a baseball cap backwards, and I'm going to play a 4-neck guitar. Like, he was awesome. He just did his own thing, and he wrote great songs, and he's still doing his own thing, which is awesome.
No doubt. No doubt. We've had him on the podcast. We love him. Rick Nielsen. Anyone that knows about me, they know what a huge Cheap Trick fan I am.
Yeah.
Robin Zander, aside from Eric Dover and Michael Steele, probably one of the best singers out there, of course.
I agree. He's in my list. There's a list of my top 5 favorite singers in the world, and I can't ever nail it quite down to have them all be in the same list at the same time. But he is one of my top 5 for sure, favorite singers of all time. And I've never heard him sing a bad note. He's amazing.
Hello folks, Roxie here. Thanks for watching the video. And if you liked it, hit the subscribe button or one of the videos around me to watch more. If you'd like to, please leave a comment. If you didn't like the video, maybe you'll forget how to type. Thanks.